The 2025 New Zealand opera season of Puccini's La Boheme is currently touring New Zealand, having just finished in Auckland and now in rehearsals in Wellington and then on to Christchurch. Award winning New Zealand-born Samoan baritone Benson Wilson is one of the cast members and he now joins me on the show. Talofa, welcome Benson.
Talofa lava.
Lovely to meet you. Look, I don't know a huge amount about opera, but let's just say I once won opening night tickets to Turandot here in Auckland many years ago. It was profound. And, of course, you'll know the piece Nessun Dorma, and the whole audience just jumped up and started clapping. This is sort of 10, 15 years ago, I feel. And as a Kiwi, I was like, gee, I didn't know New Zealanders got that excited about anything outside rugby.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you enjoy it? I bet you enjoy the energy of an audience when you're performing, right?
Oh, totally, totally. Especially when it's a piece that's well known, like Turandot or La Boheme. You know, there are the bangers in there that people
Yeah,
often can relate to, and
yeah.
they often, yeah, they've heard it before. So there's a personal connection.
Yes, of course. So the musical, the opera that you are in, La Boheme, tell us a little bit of an overview of the storyline and the character that you play, Benson.
Absolutely. So La Boheme is about four best friends. They're living the student life, poor student life in Paris,
Nice.
and one of them. So they're all artists in their own right. There's an author, a musician, a visual artist, and a philosopher. And I'm playing the role of Shonard, who is the musician. And the author falls in love with our neighbor, and then she kind of he finds out she's sick, and he sees her in her last, well, all the complications that come with yeah, loving someone who possibly won't make it.
Yeah, yeah. There's always a lot of, well, says she with limited experience of opera, but there always seems to be a lot of drama, right? I mean, that must be fun for you guys to play.
Absolutely. I think one of the best things that I love about opera is the connection of music and telling stories. And it's the telling of stories that people just really cling on to because, having friends, I hope most people can relate to that. And then also, having fallen in love. That's another thing that people can relate to. So there are many themes within La Boheme that are just very relatable and that make it very accessible.
So you grew up in New Zealand, and I understand you grew up in church singing. And then I mean, I know things don't suddenly happen, but where did that sort of connection point come where you were like, actually, I'm heading towards being an opera singer?
Yeah, the saying that is always said around churches, "Our ways are never God's ways," and I feel like had I not well, actually, the big move that happened. So I grew up my whole life singing in church. Mum was church pianist. She was the choir director. So I was forced to be in the choir. I was forced to sing in the front row, and made my way from the front to the back row because I went through the soprano, alto, tenor, and then bass as my voice matured. Um, but it was actually through my stepfather who him and mum were ordained in 2014 in
Oh,
the Seventh Adventist Church, and his class, I think there were 8 or 10 of them. They were sent all around the world to different posts, ranging from Wellington, Auckland, Hawke's Bay, Samoa, American Samoa, Hawaii, the USA, Australia, Western Australia. Um, and in 2014, we were moved to, 2005, we were asked to take over the post at Hawke's Bay in Havelock North at the Seventh Adventist Church there. And it was at Havelock North High School that a teacher heard my potential. It was actually a student who then went and told the teacher and said, "You need to hear Benson sing." And it was the student teacher who just kind of pushed me into joining the school choir, who then pushed me into joining the New Zealand Secondary Students Choir, which eventually led to me studying at the University of Auckland, and then me doing competitions, and then doing my masters in London, to now having a career. And if it wasn't for God's timing, which took our whole family to Hawke's Bay, I doubt I would have found classical music like I did, because I grew up in South Auckland, where classical music isn't the preferred genre.
No. That's a beautiful story. And, when people hear that, they think, oh, wow, that's amazing. That's a dream. But there must have been a lot of hard work over the years, competitions, going for roles, and there's probably a whole bunch of people going for the same role, I imagine. COVID getting in the way, just all the ups and downs of being a professional artist. How has your faith helped you through those times?
Yeah, I think when when the rock that you lean on is the source of all confidence, of all strength, and is the creator of this world that we live in, there's this quiet confidence that I get through my faith in God, and that instills this fearlessness. When God is for you, who is against you? And you walk into these auditions, and I've had people say there's something different about you, and I always tell them, I say, well, I have a secret weapon, and they say, oh yeah, and they actually, one of the pianists jumped before I even said anything. She said, "It's your faith, isn't it?" And I said, absolutely. But you're right also in saying that faith without works is dead. I have to put in the hard work. I have to do the work so that I can show up to these auditions, and then let God do the work from there on.
That's really beautiful. That's just so lovely. You get to co-partner with God, right? And that's pretty cool, considering
Absolutely. There's
he's
no one else in the world that better than partnering up with God. When
that's
God is your partner in life.
yeah. The world's your oyster, right?
Absolutely.
So, Benson, what would you say to someone who's listening? Sanctuary, we're in New Zealand's worship station. You might not be familiar with us. We used to be another station. We morphed into this station February the 14th. And there's a lot of people who listen from all across the country, some from overseas, across the generations, to be honest, young and old. But
Yeah.
what would you say to someone who's got a dream in their heart, whether it's to be a scientist or an artist or whatever it is, what would you say to that person?
I am in talking to this person, I'm also talking to myself, because I've been given these gifts, these talents, not only just singing, and I'm in constant prayer to God to reveal the next thing for me, because I see this career as a stepping stone for me. I want to leave a legacy behind of service, and to have shone my light, God's light, through what I do. And in speaking to this person, I would definitely say, actually, my favorite Bible verse, which is Proverbs 3 verse 5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understandings. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct you. It almost is that simple.
That's my favourite verse too, by the way.
Hey!
Benson Wilson, thank you so much. So lovely to chat with you today. For our listeners, you can catch La Boheme in Wellington from the 18th to the 22nd of June, and in Christchurch from the 2nd to the 6th of July. Find out more by checking out newzealandopera.com. Benson Wilson, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. God bless.
God bless you.